My name is Joe Cirkiel. You probably know me as the Dream Kid, or I think other people have said the WTF Kid.
Have you ever had a dream that you once?
Have you ever had a dream like this? Is a video of me attempting to talk about dreams during a documentary and me fumbling to do so because I was a little kid. Usually I've seen it applied to funny memes relating to somebody losing their train of thought or somebody getting kind of caught in the act doing something they're not supposed to and they're trying to cover for themselves, or also they are trying to talk about dreams. My mother, after my interview with Wavy, my mother made it a point that I give her shouts out. So shouts out to her for making sure that I was up to TV snuff that day. She was the one who picked out the now signature red sweater, got my haircut done recently, and as I remembered it, I think really kind of goaded me into being very vocal and kind of getting a lot of TV time. Basically, HBO went to a few different schools, and this one in particular went to my elementary school, Northeast Elementary School, and they interviewed my kindergarten class among a few others, and I think some other schools in the city also. Basically, I was kind of being coached, I think in the car on the way there and a little bit of nice before, like, you know, make sure you smile nice, like make sure you look nice on camera, always answer their questions, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, typical mom stuff, especially because she wanted to make sure I got on TV, whereas a lot of my other classmates and friends maybe weren't so lucky as to get on TV. They weren't compelling enough. I like to think that that's probably the genesis of that meme, because I was goaded so much by my mom to make sure I make it on TV and make the cut that I was very, very competitive about talking on screen. In addition to the fact that the way the production was set up, as I remember it, was they would have a couple kids as like a panel asking us questions. And I think the idea was that they were sort of auditioning us and not all of us were gonna make the cut. So I certainly made the cut, that's for sure.
Haven't you ever had a dream? Something you wanted so bad you'd do anything?
Yeah, so the reason I picked Hercules was I just liked the movie. It had come out relatively recently. It was like the big Disney movie that summer or whatever, so I think it was kind of like on my mind. And I think the production was about dreams, and the thing that was sort of low-hanging fruit for me was this monologue that Hercules did about dreams. So I was trying to quote that to the best of my abilities. I guess that was the deepest thing I could think, 5-year-old me could think up. And as you see by my excitement on my face, I thought I really nailed it. The first time I saw it online was one of my friends who I grew up with and also was a part of that video found it on some blog. It was something like Reddit, it might have been Reddit, I'm not exactly sure. And so my friend said, "You're not gonna believe this, that video that we were in when we were in kindergarten, somebody posted that clip on the internet." And I wasn't too into it. I didn't like the idea that somebody I didn't know was taking that clip and putting it on a website I didn't know. So there's just a little too much unknown about it. In hindsight, it was all kind of like nice and a good laugh, but I was still self-conscious enough as an 18-year-old to not love that my fumble resurfaced as such. The hype around my video, my family was doing that in like the late 90s because they all got a copy of the DVD, and to my initial chagrin about the whole topic, we'd always sit down and watch it at family reunions for the first couple years, and I was tired of it kind of before it resurfaced, because it was just like, oh, let's have a good laugh at the family reunion and listen to, like, you know, okay, now it's like 8-year-old Joe watching 5-year-old Joe embarrass himself on TV. So that was kind of, my family was pretty early to that party. That was like their late 90s, like early 2000s sort of thing. I think they appreciated the viral meme, but I think that, again, there's a little bit of a disconnect that they're not so deep in the weeds checking, you know, how many views does this have, who's posting this. I think they appreciated it from an outside perspective, but kind of similar to me, they weren't really like doing a deep dive, I would say. Yeah, I think relatability is also like a word too. I think I like to think that everyone feels like if they were in my position, they would have done the same thing. Whereas that's not, when I was embarrassed about it, that's not how I thought about it at that age, right, or at that time. But yeah, I think for the most part, it brings a sort of childlike innocence that you don't really see in memes very much. I think that's a big part of the staying power of it. I'm not convinced I've seen all of them. If someone hasn't shown it to me, I probably haven't seen it. But that being said, it's gotta be the Inception one.
Have you ever had a dream that you want?
Where it's, I forget her name, but it's whoever's talking to DiCaprio, and he's like sort of building his team for Inception, and he's talking about dreams, but they make like my head and me talking. That's my favorite one for sure. And DiCaprio, if you're watching this, let's link up. So I think the progression of the last 10 years has kind of been maybe for the first year or two actually kind of trying to disassociate myself from it. And then afterwards it was sort of like I enjoyed having a bit of like a little more anonymity. And I liked that people liked it, but I was willing to kind of just let it be that. But I think what people don't understand is that there's, I think it's harder to necessarily monetize or become sort of associate with a meme as people think. I think people see how much money there is online and they assume that that's something that goes to the end creator, and that's not necessarily the case. So I think it was sort of, so by the time I actually wanted to kind of mobilize a bit, it was sort of too little too late, and there were a couple people kind of saying they were me, and even if they didn't really have a leg to stand on or their story didn't add up, it was enough to put that doubt into people's minds. It wasn't until my first experience with that was I was living in Hong Kong at the time, and I had just met, I was just hanging out with some of my dorm mates in our communal area, and I, on multiple occasions, somebody would just be, looking through their phone and that clip would come out. And eventually I felt inclined to say, that's me, right? And 99% of people ran with that, but there was one healthy skeptic that was like, that seems a little too good to be true, right? That we're watching this video and you're just gonna come out and say like, that's you. Now granted, like I would never, clout chase something like that, but I showed them photos of me as a kid, similar to the Wavywebsurf interview, and it checked out. It's complicated. On one level, I like how I really do vibe with and appreciate the joy that brings people. And I think my favorite thing out of all of this is people. I've always done this, but people especially now messaging me and saying things as crazy as, "I'm putting this in my wedding vows." I've heard I use your clip as an intro to my Twitch stream. And more basically just, that like that video makes me really happy, or the movie, I like to watch that movie with my kids, that sort of thing. That part of it's really nice. On the other hand, I feel like the internet is such a phenomenon that kind of like anyone can accidentally sort of become a meme. And I don't want to downplay, like, I think the original clip on YouTube has like 80 million views, like without like totally downplaying that. It doesn't really like, I don't feel like it's too transformational for me one way or the other. I like that it happened. I kind of enjoy the phenomenon around it, but I'm not convinced that it's gonna like, totally change my life one way or the other. For sure. So stay posted for upcoming projects. My next one's gonna be, I'm planning on launching my photography portfolio as an NFTs on Mintable. So I'll be sure to link you guys that at the appropriate time. Just to stay apprised with me and kind of just keep the conversation going, you can add me on Twitter at Joe Cirk or on Instagram at Far East Coast LLC. Thanks for having me, and it's really really awesome to be a part of this Know Your Meme project.